Hi guys, so this is just a video that is an introduction to our Peer Tutoring Club's AP World History curriculum. We'll just be going over a brief introduction about what this subject is like, the course curriculum, study tips, and any other resources that you guys should probably keep in mind. Alright, so we'll just let my slides go on. Okay, so you've probably heard that AP World History is pretty hard. And is it actually pretty hard? My answer to this is yes and no. It really depends on how well you manage your time, you study and practice, and most importantly, you practice making connections. So, I think the main reason why a lot of students find AP World History hard is because they think it's like any other history class or any other class that depends a lot on memorization. You just memorize and you pass. But the thing is, a lot of college level or honor level history classes, such as AP World, AP US History, AP Euro, and even AP Art History, it's not really the case. Um, Most of these history classes, including AP World, in these classes, you have to learn to make connections and draw a conclusion from your connections by analyzing different historical events. You're not just learning that so and so happened at this and this time, but rather you're learning to connect, for example, event A with event B and making a conclusion out of your analysis. And so basically, what I want to say is that memorizing events really doesn't get you far. Even the MCQ questions on a lot of these AP history tests will ask about connections rather than, for example, when did this event happen? So, conclusion: if you plan on solely memorizing and barely practicing making connections, you're making a big mistake, and that is something you need to avoid. All right, with that covered, I just want to talk about my own experience learning AP World History during my sophomore year here at DIS. I learned that the first and foremost thing, is that you should start early and really pace yourself when it comes to studying for the test. Be disciplined with the amount of practice you put in and always be honest with yourself. And then second, always go to Mr. Bergen or me for help if you want your essays checked over. Always have your FRQs checked over, whether it's with me or Mr. Bergen or with even a friend, so that you can continue to improve. The essays and the FRQs are basically 75% of your AP score. So I would actually suggest that although the MCQ is also pretty important, the FRQ is equally, if not more, important than the MCQ. And lastly, this is just a little tip, but handwrite and practice in actual test conditions early on during the semester because it's a bit of a physically draining test. You have 3 FRQs to write, technically around 5, considering that you have to write 3 SAQs, and it's going to be very tiring for your hands, not gonna lie. So just get used to it and prepare as if you're actually taking the test with actual testing conditions. All right, so I just want to go over our peer tutoring club's curriculum. Now, I do want to make sure that our curriculum doesn't necessarily focus on MCQ practice or memorizing events and covering them. If you have any questions about what sort of connection event A has with event B, then of course you can always ask me or Mr. Bergen. But rather, this club's curriculum for AP World History will be focused on making connections and writing good FRQs. So, these are the curriculums for each type of different FRQ that you will see in AP World History. I also would just want to mention that a lot of these are very common and they will reoccur over and over again in various other APs that you will take in DIS or either self-study by yourself. For example, thesis and contextualization is a basic FRQ skill, but things like line of reasoning and contextualization and using evidence and incorporating quotes in your FRQ is a big skill that you will need to learn for other AP classes such as AP Seminar or AP Lang. So just pause if you want to read what the curriculum is exactly going to be like. And this is the curriculum for MCQ and SAQ. The MCQ, again, we will not really be covering a lot. All right. So, lastly, here are just some resources that I thought would be good to recommend for any of you interested in really studying for the exam. So, first of all, I think from my own experience and from many other students' experiences from our school and outside of our school, the Barron's book or the Five Steps to a Five book is really good for practicing AP World History, but also just learning the connections and learning to make your own connections. I do not really recommend the Princeton review books or Kaplan test prep, just simply because I've noticed that those books don't really focus on connections, but rather just they simply state what event happened when. So, in my opinion, it was a little bit better to buy the Barron's book to really learn those connections and to really see what went on and what went down in history. Lastly, and this is just a general tip for AP, because I know AP World History is, for those of you that are taking it, is probably the first AP class that you are taking ever in your high school career. But joining r/AP students or both r/AP World History Reddit pages really helped me a lot, and you should just do this for any AP that you take because honestly, there are so many resources on there, and there are so many students that ask each other questions and help each other out. So it's really beneficial to join these pages and get a lot more test prep and review and just materials overall. And I found it really helpful. Next is you've probably seen him and you probably know him at this point, but Heimler's History. I personally think he's a very good resource and he explains things really well, but obviously he's also very good at explaining history subjects in general and how to study for them. So I think Heimler's history videos are very great. Don't rely on them solely, but just use them for a quick review. Um, what you should also be relying on is the AP Classroom videos. I do think that they cover a lot of material, and for again, just any quick review, you should look into that because, and these are teachers from the States that have taught AP World History for many years, but also they work with College Board. So it's good to learn what they actually require. And lastly, visit me every Wednesday recess in Miss Lahadi's room to learn a little bit more about how to write a good FRQ. And I think that's it. Thank you.